I have to put a little like sticky note or reminder. So that can be another one of my goals for this term. All right, so real quick again, our virtual norms. All right. Class norms and overview. All right, attendance. This is a big one, right? Please make sure you log into class every day. All right. Those of you who have been with us so far this year already kind of know the deal. All right. Attendance is also a big part of your grade, all right? It's about 40% of it. Okay. So we don't want you to just, do the work on Summit and get it done. We also want you to physically be in class because number one, we want to see you and hear from you and interact with you because you're all wonderful people. Number two, it will help you stay on track of what's going on so that you're not maybe doing more work than you have to because you're not in class, so you might not know, oh, I don't have to do this thing on Summit. I only have to do the first part because that's something that they went over in class. And it'll also just keep you up to date on like the content and stuff. So just as if you would have to come into the building if we were in the building, make sure you're logging on every day. Other parts of your grade include the final project. All right, that's another 40%, and the 20% is your checkpoints, any quizzes that we take, things like that. All right, making sure all our checkpoints are green or yellow um, at the end of the term. And I know, like Monica, you're new. If you haven't used Summit before, this might be some lingo that you're not used to, but it'll all make sense as soon as we start doing it. It's very, very self-explanatory, right? And as always in my class, discussion is encouraged, especially in this class for this term, because it is kind of like a film study class. So the class and what we're going to be doing is really going to be driven by your guys' thoughts and opinions and engagement. So the way I always like to say is, you got to kind of help me help you. This class will go as quick and as engaging and exciting as we all allow it to go. So if you guys are all engaging and giving back to me, then I think it'll be really, a really great one. If I'm, having to wait for people to answer and respond and nobody's responding, then it'll be, slow and painful, which nobody likes. So I know you guys are all very bright, insightful thinkers because I've had most of you before. So do not be afraid. And if you want to just use the chat, use the chat. If you are fine coming off mute, that's fine too, whatever you want to do. But either way, we are ready. Okay. So, questions with any of that so far? You just, oh, you know what? I just realized that I was not sharing my screen for any of that. So that's not cool. But hopefully you guys could all hear me. All right. So this is everything I was just talking about. So you can now at least see it in front of you. So attendance, your grading breakdown, and discussion is encouraged. All right. So if there's no other questions right now, we will then dive into the overview for our course. So I have a question to start us off with. All right. What is your favorite part about movies? And what do you think makes a good film? All right. Take 30 seconds to a minute. Think about this. You can respond in the chat or you can come off mute and let us know. But when you think about watching a movie, going to the movies, which seems like a distant memory at this point now.
Right.
But what is your, when you watch, what's your favorite part about watching movies? And, what do you think makes a good film or a good movie?
I feel like you guys could think about what your favorite movie is and then what about that movie you liked.
Mm-hmm.
at the end. Especially nice is at the end when the movie comes together, it makes sense. Yeah, totally.
Yes, Ashley. That's one of mine too. Something I really enjoy about movies is the stories they tell and how they tell it. And there are specific ways they do that, which we'll talk about in this class. But I really enjoy that. Both when it's a nice you know story that comes full circle, that we are groomed to enjoy as consumers, but also when it is a story that maybe you don't quite know how it ends, or it's left up to interpretation, or something like that. I just watched a movie like that during the break. That was very good.
Yeah. Shirley said fighting scenes or jump scares. Monica said a good ending.
Yeah, so good ending is kind of what I was just talking about. Shirley, I'm not surprised you are into the jump scares. Um, there's always one horror movie aficionado. Um, I myself do not love jump scares, but I do see their value. Miss Kelsey and I were just talking about this last night, how she needs a full day of recovery after a scary movie.
Yeah, if I'm gonna watch a scary movie, it has to be at like 10 a.m. so that there's a lot of daylight left, and about it for a while. I need some recovery time.
Yeah. Really, really good. I like these. Any other ones?
I feel like my favorite part of a movie is either the beginning of the movie or where it takes a twisted turn.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's what makes it like a good movie. Really like the twisted turn.
That's a good one. So kind of like Get Out or something like that, where it's a twist you didn't expect, right?
Like a movie that another person would never watch, I will watch. Because it's like you just go based off the title, what it say. I go based off this observation.
Yeah, that's really good. Was that Monica?
Naima.
Thank you, Naima. I can't see who's talking while I share my screen. Yeah, those are really good points. I love how you said, I'll watch a movie that maybe other people won't watch just because of the title, which is really good. I can think of an example of something kind of like that is, my girlfriend also does not like scary movies, and there was a movie that came out in 2019 called Parasite.
Oh no.
See, that's exactly what she thought. She was like, "Oh, that's gonna be a scary movie. It's called Parasite. I don't like blah blah blah." But really, it's not scary at all. It's actually a Korean film, so it's all in Korean. So you have to, read the subtitles. But it's about a family who kind of like cons and like tricks their way into working for this rich family, so they can kind of like mooch off of them. And so it was, that's the title in that form, because that's what a parasite does, is it lives off of something else, right? So you think from the title it's going to be some kind of gross, horror movie, but instead it's actually, in my opinion, a near perfect film in every way. It's the first ever non-English language film to win the Academy Award for Best Picture. And it won Best Director and Best Original Screen. It won a whole bunch of awards. And it was super, super, super good. And if you guys don't mind, reading the subtitles, the whole movie, I would encourage all of you to check it out. I think it's on Hulu. But it was really good. But it's one of those examples, like Naima was talking about, where some people may not watch it because they're turned off by the title, but in actuality, the movie is phenomenal. So
Yeah, because I was watching this movie. It's called, it's on Netflix. It's called Wide Awake. And it's not what you think it's about. Like, it's actually like, when I watch movies like that, give you clues to figuring out the missing puzzle, it's just like, that's just those my type of movies.
yeah, that's really cool. I love that.
Sorry.
And I think one other thing, at least for myself, that I like about movies is the kind of human the humanity factor of like, just how they bring people together. That's why, I mentioned going to the movies, and like I said, it does seem like a distant memory since, COVID happened, but before COVID, I used to love, love, love going to the movies, and I can't wait to go back once all of this is over. And my girlfriend makes fun of me, but I actually go to the movies by myself sometimes, which I think is also equally as enjoyable because it's a different kind of experience. But even not even going to the theater, but just if you have friends over and you're all going to watch a movie that night, or you watch one and your friends watch it another time and then you talk about it after, I think it's all really cool. And I think what makes a good film, I think a lot of you hit kind of the ones that I was thinking of as well. All right. So with all this in mind, I want you now to think about, and I'll give you guys a minute or two here to go over this. But if you can, I want you to list your top 5 favorite movies in the chat. Okay. And try and put it all in one chat. Like, send them all at once so that we can keep track of whose is whose. But think about what you just told me makes a good movie, what you like, and then think about, okay, what are the movies I know do that really well? So they're probably in my top 5. All right. So think about that and put them in the chat. I would love to hear what they are. While you guys are doing that, right, I will share mine with some visual aids there. Right. So my number 1 favorite movie of all time is Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is a movie
Oh,
from the 80s. Miss Kelsey probably knows what I'm talking about.
because I'm old, guys.
What?
Because I'm old, guys. I know what it is.
I
I'm an 80s child.
was gonna say Miss Kelsey probably remembers when this movie came out.
I was a baby.
Yeah, 86, I think.
I was like a year old.
So this is my all-time favorite movie. It's about a kid who kind of plays hooky from school that day, and then a bunch of other hijinks ensue. It's really fun. All right. Also, Wedding Crashers. Spoiler alert: these are all pretty white people centric movies.
I mean, well, you could have put a little bit of mixture of black into there, but I have watched like Wedding Crashers.
Yeah, I do like Wedding Crashers. That's always a funny one too. And while it is a funny movie, I do like the kind of overall love story in it too. And I'm just big fans of Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson as well. So that's when that's good. It doesn't age, the best in 2021 lens, but still always a good one to watch. All right, my third one is a movie called Ruby Sparks. This is one, if you like movies about books and literature and stuff, this is one I would highly recommend. So this is a movie kind of based on the myth of Pygmalion, if you've ever heard of that. And basically, the guy is an author, and he starts writing a story about a girl, and the girl he's writing about in the story comes to life, and he realizes he can control her by writing about her on his typewriter. And so it's a whole movie about expectations and making people out to be more than they are, and you know the male gaze versus like what women are actually like and want and things like that. But it's a beautifully written film. It's a beautifully acted film. The score in it, like the music, is also really, really, really good. So this is one of my all-time faves. And I of course am also a literature nerd and a literature buff since I teach English. So I really like that part of it as well. Okay. And then I, of course, have to have the obligatory mafia movie to honor my Italian heritage. So The Godfather is in there as well. I was deciding when I was doing this last night, I was deciding between The Godfather or Goodfellas.
Which Godfather? The first one?
Yeah, that's the trailer for the first one. And again, when I was doing this last night, I was also deciding, okay, if I'm gonna do The Godfather, is it gonna be one or two?
Right.
Because The Godfather 2 is, I think, in my opinion, the best sequel of all time. Because
Hmm.
it's, very, very rarely is a sequel better than the original, right? But a lot of people think that about The Godfather too. But I decided to do the first one because I thought, okay, without the first one, we don't have the second one. And you have the classic Marlon Brando performance. So really, really good. And as much as I enjoy Goodfellas and some of those other mob movies, The Godfather is the one that kind of like you know laid the foundation for all of those other ones. Because before The Godfather came out, mob movies were kind of like a little more cornier and like cheesy, like from the 60s and like black and white stuff. And it wasn't really until this came out that you could tell, you know, an actual story with, emotions and love and loss and all that stuff centered around, a mafia family.
Yeah.
And so now, and then after The Godfather, we had Goodfellas and we had The Sopranos and all those other things. So, and then my last one is,
Ooh,
of course, The Matrix.
I haven't seen it in
So,
a long time.
yeah. So I'm a big, big, big Matrix fan. I'm not, huge, huge into sci-fi as somebody like maybe Mr. Rogers was. um, but I do enjoy The Matrix, and they're actually making a new one that's going to come out on HBO Max
No way. When is
that
it
I'm
coming out?
not for a while, like later this year, but I'm pretty excited for it. I'm excited and nervous because I hope they don't, mess anything up. But
Is it Keanu?
Keanu Reeves is coming back. Carrie Ann Moss, who plays Trinity, is coming back. One of the original two um, writers and directors is coming back. So yeah, really good, really, really good. So those are my top five. So now I'm gonna unmute, or excuse me, unshare my screen, and see if we have any other ones in the chat. All right, so let's see.
Shirley shared. I shared mine, and I think Shirley shared.
She did. All right. Shirley said Avengers, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame. You know what, Shirley? I was debating whether to put Endgame on my
Yeah.
top 5 list or not. Transformers and The Conjuring, because she does like those jump scares.
Yeah.
Which Transformers? The first one?
Lights out.
To be honest, I like the whole series, but I can only pick 5, and I wasn't gonna pick all 5 Transformers, so I picked with my favorite one.
So your favorite one of all of them is the first one? Of the Transformers movies, I mean.
Oh, Shirley, we didn't hear you if you just said something.
Oh, I said yeah.
Okay. I've only seen the first 3, I think. I realize there's like 17 of them.
Are there? I have no idea. I've never seen
I think
them.
there's 5. I think Shirley said it. Yeah. But I do remember when the first one came out. I think I was in middle school and everybody was like, we have to see this movie. All right. And we'll take a look at Miss Kelsey's list. She said Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Like my favorite.
Really, really good one. A rare Jim Carrey dramatic role.
Yes, and he's really good. It's a very bizarre movie.
Yeah. Is that Charlie Kaufman directed that?
Charlie Kaufman. I like all of Charlie Kaufman's movies because they end and you kind of go, what the hell just happened?
Yeah. I watched one called
I'm
Thinking of Ending Things. It's on Netflix.
I haven't seen that yet.
That was super weird. My friend actually kind of like did it as a prank to get back at me because I recommended this movie with Seth Rogen called The Long Shot that I thought was really funny. And I was like, you guys should watch this. It's so hilarious. And they didn't like it at all. They were like, this is not funny at all. So she was like, oh my God, you have to watch this movie. I'm Thinking of Anything. It was so interesting. It was so good. You have to watch it. And then I watched it and I was like, what just happened? And then I texted her and I was like, did you see? And she was like, gotcha. Yeah. So
Yeah.
But yeah, Charlie.
But basically it's about a couple and things go bad and they break up and the woman decides to have her memory erased. And so she can't remember him and he doesn't know that that's happened. And so it goes from there.
Yeah. All right, so we have Charles Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Get Out.
I know I don't like scary movies, but
I was just gonna say.
But I didn't sleep after I watched that one. But I think it's such a good it has such a good, interesting message.
Yeah.
That and like it's such a good analogy. And actually I should have put in Sorry to Bother You. Have you ever seen that?
I've heard of it, but I can't.
That's such a good movie. That is one of my favorite movies. Sorry to Bother You. It's actually one of the guys in Get Out is the main character, and he's the guy who goes get out. So he's the main character in Sorry to Bother You, and it's really good. Also like sci-fi and weird, but
yeah. What else do we have? Man on Fire, classic Denzel. He was just in that movie I watched called The Little Things. Moonlight, another good one, and Inception.
I just watched Inception, so it's like fresh in my mind. But again, I like those movies.
I love that movie.
And you're like, what just happened?
Yeah. When I was a senior in high school, I took a girl out on a date to the movies and we saw Inception, and it was a horrible idea because I couldn't like be present in the date because I had to like watch the movie the whole time to like make sure I understood what happened. Yeah.
I similarly went on a date to this movie called There Will Be Blood.
Oh, with Daniel Day-Lewis?
Yeah, it was like a first date, and it was one of the bloodiest.
I was gonna say that's a heavy movie.
And it ended, and we were like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. But I love Christopher Nolan. And for those of you who don't know, the guy who directed Inception, Christopher Nolan, also did, like, if you've seen The Dark Knight or Batman Begins, or The Dark Knight Rises, like that Christian Bale Batman trilogy, he did all those too.
He goes dark.
Yeah. But he has a new one called Tenet that came out last year, or in 2020. But like got delayed because of COVID. But we just watched that, and that was really good too.
That's not M. Night Shyamalan.
No.
He came out with a movie that's called something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, what else? Oh, we have one from Monica. She said Fun, which I've never heard of.
I've never heard of that either.
Yeah. Lights Out, Poseidon, The Conjuring 2, okay, and Gemini Man. Oh, that's the one with Will Smith. Yeah. Those are really good ones.
Oh, Gemini Man, I've been thinking about that. I'm sort of on a Will Smith kick because we watched.
Oh, Run. Fun, sorry.
Oh, Run. Okay. Well, I haven't heard of that either.
But this sounds interesting. And it's interesting that Shirley said The Conjuring and Monica said The Conjuring 2.
I know, they both made our list.
Which one is better? Does anybody else have a list of their top 5? Oh, I'm sorry, Monica. Go ahead.
It's called Run. It's on Hulu. Y'all should watch. It's really good.
Run?
Yeah.
Okay. I will check that out. Anybody else have top 5? Or if you can't think of 5, maybe like 1 or 2 that you know are really good, that you enjoy?
Oh, it has Sarah Paulson in it.
Oh, interesting.
She's so good.
Yeah.
She was in American Crime Story. She played
Marsha. Oh yeah, Marsha Clark. I love those.
Clark. Yeah.
Have you seen? I love all those Ryan Murphy ones, like American Horror Story, American Crime Story. Did you watch the American Crime Story about Gianni Versace?
No, I need to watch that.
That one's really good. And the guy that plays the dude who killed him, Andrew Cunanan, the actor who plays him, Darren Criss, he did a really good job.
What Keeps You Alive? Oh, I've never heard of that either. What's that about, Ashley?
Yeah. That's why I wanted to ask this, because I knew you guys would have all these cool indie ones that we either don't know about or are too white to have seen.
Oh my gosh. Is it a horror movie? It's a thriller film.
It sounds like it.
I know.
Miss Kelsey's already out.
Sorry, Ashley, I can't watch that. I'll never sleep again.
What? I'll never sleep again. Yeah, I know. I want to. I was gonna watch this movie the other night, but then it ended up not being on Prime, so I didn't watch it because I didn't want to pay for it. But it's called The Rental, and it was with. Oh, Ashley says it's not a horror.
Okay.
But I feel like people who like horror movies always give that standard answer. It's not scary at all.
The thriller. And then
Yeah,
it's horrifying.
The guitar player in my band is the same way with hot sauce.
Yeah, it's not spicy at all. That's what people like.
He's always like, "Oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad." I was like, "You're crying right now."
No, trust me. Okay. All right. I'll watch the trailer.
Okay, we'll check it out.
Keeps you alive. Is that what you said?
Yeah, but I was gonna watch this movie called The Rental with Dave Franco and Alison Brie, but I can watch it. But there's another one on my watch list called Unsane.
Oh, I just watched that.
Oh, with Claire Foy.
It's really not good.
The Crown.
I hate to tell you that it's so bad.
Oh, you didn't like it?
No.
Okay, maybe I won't watch it then.
It could have been. I just think it could have been done better.
Yeah. Well, I know the whole movie was like shot on an iPhone or something, I think.
Interesting.
Something like that. That's the other reason I want to watch it is it's one of my favorite directors, Steven Soderbergh, who did like all the Ocean's 11 movies, and Traffic, if you've ever seen that. So he's really cool.
Secret Obsession. Is that another movie, Ashley?
Secret Obsession.
On Netflix.
On Netflix also, yeah.
Well, I was thinking like I love Brokeback Mountain and then Call Me by Your Name, but then I was like, I don't know. They're like so good, but they're all love stories,
Yeah. Yeah.
Secret Obsession. I'm gonna look that up.
Speaking of Call Me by Your Name, have you been following any of this stuff that's going on with Army Hammer and the like DMs that got leaked? Yeah, crazy. All right. Anybody else with final thoughts on their favorite movies? Give Me Shelter. Like the Rolling Stones song? What is that one about? Give Me Shelter, Ashley. It's also on Netflix.
Give Me Shelter. I'm gonna look that one up. Ashley likes these suspense.
I know, Ash. See, that's why I love doing this because you guys have the deep cuts. Give Me Shelter movie.
Oh, that looks good.
Oh yeah.
Vanessa Hudgens.
Is that who that is? It doesn't even look like her.
No. I love Rosario Dawson.
She is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ashley.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
sorry. Last one. Have you seen Just Mercy?
I have not seen that one yet, but I do want to.
I mean, it made me bawl my eyes out. So just to be prepared, but it is so good, and it's based on a true story.
Right. Yeah.
Jamie Foxx is amazing. Michael B. Jordan is amazing. Yeah, totally, highly recommend Just Mercy. It's about criminal justice and criminal justice reform, but you don't think about that while you're watching it. You're just like very into the story.
Yeah, I know. I want to check it out. Shirley said Thor Ragnarok, but just because I love Loki. I mean, that's okay because I'm sure my girlfriend or Miss Kelsey would say that Thor is also not too hard to look at either. So she can put that one on her list. But I do like Thor Ragnarok. I love that director, Taika Waititi, and I love what he did with the whole Thor franchise and kind of like turned it into more of like a comedy and like sarcastic humor, because I think people don't realize how funny Chris Hemsworth, the actor who plays Thor, he's like hilarious. He's super funny, but he couldn't really do a lot of that the way Thor was written originally. So I love that they kind of like turned it around. And then in Endgame, when he becomes Fat Thor, he was really funny.
I have to watch this. I have not seen any of them.
You haven't seen any of them? Oh, we talked about this before.
Yeah, I'm gonna start.
Any of the Marvel movies? Yeah, you gotta get to.
Well, how do you watch? Are they on Netflix?
They're on Disney Plus.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all on Disney Plus except the 2 Spider-Man movies, I believe. Yeah.
That's okay.
And actually, I don't know what LMN is.
Yeah, what's that?
Can you elaborate?
I can't believe you like Loki more than Thor, Shirley.
Well, I could see that because Shirley is into the horror movies and the jump scares, so she probably sympathizes with the villains a little bit. Oh, Lifetime
And
movie.
I like Thor, but Loki, I even have it as my wallpaper.
He's like, wait, I have to look him up to make sure I'm thinking of the right person.
Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah. He's like pale and
Hey, some people are into that.
He just has muscles.
what was Thor?
Yeah. And actually, I do know what you mean now, Lifetime Movie Network. I don't watch it, but I know there are a lot of good ones on there.
Ew. Shirley, what about his hair? He has
She
like
goes,
long
ew.
hair. Well, this is
I'm not talking anything bad about Thor. Why are you coming for my man?
Sorry, I was just about to back it up and say this is what's beautiful about the world is that there's someone for everyone. We're all just different matches. There's no good or bad. It's just different.
That's all right. I was watching the newest episode of that show Hot Ones yesterday where they answer questions and they eat the hot wings. And Priyanka Chopra was on. And I was like, she is absolutely gorgeous. She's beautiful. And my girlfriend and I were talking about something else, and Post Malone came up in conversation, and that is like her man. She loves Post Malone.
Your
And
girlfriend does?
Oh, 100%.
What does that say about you?
Who knows? But she was like, he's my like celebrity crush. And I was like, that's fine. Mine is now Priyanka Chopra. And then she was like, well, she's married to Nick Jonas, so good luck.
Good luck.
And then we got in a debate about whether or not I could beat up Nick Jonas, and it was a whole thing.
What was the outcome?
Don't worry about it.
I just love Henry Cavill. After he built that computer, I thought he was like the best.
Yeah, he's in that show, The Witcher, right?
That is what got me into him.
Yeah. Have you seen him in any of the when he's Superman?
No, but he's also in The Tudors, which I.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's cool.
And he was in Enola Holmes.
Oh, yeah. How was that on Netflix?
It was good, entertaining. Not like a great movie, but.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you all who shared. If you didn't share, that's okay. Hopefully you now have some new movie recommendations from these other lists. But that was really awesome. Really great job. That's why I'm excited for this class this term, because it's a lot of talking about movies and what we like about them and all that kind of good stuff. So now to get into what we're actually going to be doing in the project, right? So our project on Summit that I will have you all assigned to by Friday is going to be called From Stage to Page, right? Now, here's the deal. This project on Summit originally, was meant to be done with a Shakespeare play, okay? But I decided, I still wanted to do the project because I liked what the final product was and stuff, but I was not about to try and have us all read Shakespeare when we're virtually, when we're virtual and not in class and not meeting every day, and stuff like that. And also, the less old dead white guys that you guys read, the better, I think, in my opinion. So I decided instead of Shakespeare to do, we'll all watch a movie together. But the same kind of concepts still apply because, you still have to, a movie isn't a movie when it starts. It's a screenplay and it's written, and then it has to be performed and filmed and acted out, much like a play does. Right. So you can see the kind of essential questions that we're going to ask ourselves here in this project. What are the factors that make us human? What happens when our humanity is lost or threatened, right? What is unique about drama as a form of literature? And how are the text of plays changed through performance? Okay. So what I'd like to do real quick before we wrap up here is just think about this first question for today to kind of get our brains in gear with what we're going to be talking about in the project. So I'm going to put that question in the chat. And if you have any thoughts, you can respond either in the chat or come off mute. I also love how you guys are using your mics today. Really good job with participation.
Yeah, it makes class so much more interesting, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely. But what do we think of that as we look at what our goal is going to be for this project? To write a paper in which you analyze the language of a single scene from the movie that we're going to watch in depth, and then explain the connection of that scene to the overarching theme and structure of the movie itself. And that's what we're going to learn throughout the project, is how to identify those themes, how to watch movies and figure out what they're talking about, how everything can go into presenting that theme, from the colors of their shirts to the certain shot of the camera, and something called mise en scène, which is like everything we see in the frame, the difference between story and screenplay and all that stuff. We're gonna chat about all that stuff. So knowing that, what do we think about that essential question before we kind of wrap up here? What are the factors that make us human? All right. So when we talk about humanity and us as being, humans, what are some of the things that kind of set us apart from, the other life forms in this universe that make us distinctly human?
Our feelings.
Say it again, Monica.
Our feelings.
Our feelings is a huge one. Yes, definitely. I would also add our thoughts, right? We are the only creatures on this earth. I'm not going to say in this universe, because who knows if we're alone or not, but that's a conversation for a different day. But we're the only creatures on this earth that can think and reason, right? As much as we love to think our dogs can, they can't. It's mostly instinct. You know what I mean? Some animals are smarter than others, but no animal besides humans can go, maybe I shouldn't do this, because if I do, I'll get in trouble. That's thought, and that's reasoning. And those are, and we have feelings that get hurt, and things like that. So that's a really good one. Those are our feelings and our thoughts. What else? Any other ones? So we said, I'll kind of list these in the chat too. Feelings, thoughts. All right. And Shirley said, I don't know what makes us human. All I can think is that we can bleed. You're kind of on the same track there, Shirley. Every other creature does have blood, yes. But I think when we say, we bleed, I think we also imply that, like, we bleed because we feel emotion. So we bleed kind of like physically and, figuratively too, right? So we can put that, on our list as well, emotions. And not just having emotions, but being in touch with our emotions and stuff like that.
I would add like complex language, because while other animals can communicate with each other, we have the ability to make things like movies where we're like talking about stories and talking about those thoughts and emotions that we have in ways that other species are not able to do.
Yeah.
About that bleeding,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the same concept applies to music too, right? Like music is a universal language. So we can take those thoughts and some people turn them into movies, some people turn them into books, some people turn them into music, you know what I mean? So that's really good. And I think with that, I would add art in general, whether it is music, whether it's painting, whether it's poetry, whether it is filmmaking, whether it's graffiti, whether it is a YouTube makeup tutorial, that's still art in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So I would add that as well. Anything else? Any other thoughts on what makes us human, or what we can attribute to our humanity? All right. Well, if not, keep that in mind, and come back with that when we meet again on Friday, and that's kind of where we're going to start with this project. So I'm, going to do a little bit of work, today and tomorrow and Thursday, and kind of tailor the project on Summit, to fit us best, for being virtual and the time we have. But um, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good, and I can already tell. We have a lot of people in here that'll be into it. So uh, that is all I have for you all today, unless you have any other questions for me. But really good job. Um, I will see you all again on Friday, same time. And then don't forget, tomorrow is Wednesday. So it'll be mentoring, but it's going to be the first day of that new kind of Wednesday format we're going to do. So just like yesterday, we're all going to meet in one big kind of Zoom meeting first. And then we'll do some breakout rooms from there. All right. So look for the link to that in your Yes Philly email today or tomorrow morning. All right. So I'm going to stay in the chat for a few minutes in case anybody has questions. But if not, you guys are good to go for today. Thank you all for sharing and engaging. Really great job. I hope every class will be like this. If it is, then this thing will fly by. Really good job.
Yeah,
All right?
thank you for adding to my list. I feel like, especially during a quarantine, it's nice to have a lot of good things to watch.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
We get to learn about you guys.
Great job today. I will see you all on Friday. Like I said, I'll be in the chat for a few more minutes here if you have questions. If not, you guys are good to go and head on to second period. All right. Good job today. Thank you, guys.
All right, I'm going to head out. See ya. Good job, everyone.
Can we go into the breakout room real quick, please?
Sure, I missed. Sorry, I forgot I was still in the chat. Yeah, sure, no problem. You know what? Let's do this. Nakai and Sammy, unless you guys have any other questions, I'm just going to go ahead and